Hello everyone, welcome to another video, another celestial tour. In this video we will talk about the history of the celestial tour. That's right, it will be about the history of space exploration. Basically mankind in space, but we will also talk about the first rockets and stuff. So in the last video we talked about space and oceans needing to be discovered. And let us review the history of space discoveries, shall we? So, I am also interested in history and geography, and I even talked about how I was going to upload a video about mankind and space relations. That was a tiring video, so that's why I just decided to make a playlist called History of Astronomy, Space Sciences, and Space Exploration. And this video will be the first video in that playlist. So let's just jump right into the video with talking about the first rocket sent to space. So this is a timeline I made myself by Google Drawings using the source I've used. It kinda looks unprofessional, but still, anyways, I kinda forgot this in the timeline, but the first ever space mission was the V2 rocket made by the Nazi Germany. It was sent to space, making it the first man-made object crossing the blue blankets. Now next, as you can see, it is included in the timeline, was a space mission in 1946. It was the WAC Corporal, made by the USA, the second rocket that reached space. So there's kinda an error in the timeline. It says the first rocket, but so skip that too. Then in the same year, 1946, the V2 rocket released the first images of Earth from an altitude of 105 kilometers. And this is an image, as you can see in the screen. Then in 1947, first animals, fruit flies, were sent to space from the same rocket, the V2 rocket. Here comes 1951, the first dogs were sent to space from the R1 rocket made by the USSR. And finally, the space race begins. The space race was a space exploration competition happening during the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union. In 1957, Sputnik 1, made by the Soviet Union, was the first artificial satellite sent to space. In the same year, the Soviet Union sent Sputnik 2 with a dog named Laika inside it to orbit, and Laika became the first animal to be in orbit. Then, in 1958, NASA was founded, and the first American satellite, Explorer 1, was sent to space. And I also forgot this in the timeline, but doesn't matter. And in 1959, NASA's Explorer 6 took the first images of Earth from orbit, and here's an image. And finally, in 1961, Yuri Gagarin, a Soviet cosmonaut, was the first man to be in space with the engine Vostok 1. So that's something important. Also, I again forgot another thing in my timeline. Jeez, I need to be more organized. Was of course the first monkey, Ham, in space. Ham was sent to space in 1961 with Mercury Redstone 2 being the first monkey in space. Yay! Another NASA mission in 1962 was OSO-1. It was the first orbital solar observatory mission. In 1963, this is an important one, another Soviet cosmonaut, Valentina Tereshkova, was the first woman to be in space with the engine Vostok 6. In 1966, the Soviet Union sent the first artificial satellite around the moon. In 1968, Apollo 8 became the first piloted orbital mission of the moon. The astronauts were Frank F. Borman II, James A. Lovell Jr., and William A. Anders. And finally, we come to the most known space mission of all time. And of course, it is the Apollo 11 moon landings. Yay! In 1969, made by NASA. Neil Armstrong was the first man to step on the moon, saying the following famous quote: "That is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Buzz Aldrin was the second man to step on the moon, and Michael Collins was the pilot of Apollo 11. Rest in peace, Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins were all moon legends. Big credits to them. Are you talking about the fake moon landings? They were filmed in a studio. One small step for a man, one giant leap. Shut your mouth. Just shut your damn mouth. Wake up, sheeple. You wake up, you obscurantist. We're in an age where technology is a thing, okay? Okay, Generation Z. Bruh. Are you going to waste more time imitating a conspiracy theorist? Because I just want to learn about space, you know? Oh, I mean, you're right, of course. But, I mean, it is just a short skit to entertain the viewers, you know, an icebreaker. But you're right, that's enough for now. Also, the director for the moon landings was Stanley Kubrick. No, George Lucas. Anyways, here we are in 1971. Salyut 1 became the first space station in space sent by the Soviets. Later on, in 1974, Mariner 10 was the first photographer of Venus, as shown in the screen. Here's a photo of Venus. In 1982, Venera 13, a Soviet mission, got the first Venus soil sample and recorded the first recordings of another world. In 1990, Voyager 1, a famous NASA mission of course, became the first photographer of all of the solar system. So this is something I forgot again in the timeline. The Hubble Space Telescope, of course, launched in the same year, 1990, and the universe being 13.8 billion years old and the rate of the universe increasing was first finalized by the Hubble Space Telescope. Okay, so listen, I may have not added all the things in the timeline, but this timeline is simply a second-hand thing. Like, just imagine that, like, just see this as some kind of image in the screen. That is just some general stuff, you know. Anyways, in 1995, the longest spaceflight was recorded in a Russian space station, Mir, by a cosmonaut named Valery Polyakov, and this was made by modern Russia. In 1997, Japan sent Halka, I don't know how you pronounce this, the first orbital radio observatory. Same year, NASA's Mars Pathfinder was the first rover to land on Mars. In 2000, Near Shoemaker, made by NASA, was the first orbiter around an asteroid. And in 2001, it was the first to land on an asteroid. Later on, in 2004, NASA's Genesis brought the first solar wind samples. And next year, in 2005, NASA, the European Space Agency, and the Italian Space Agency sent the Cassini-Huygens to Saturn, and the first soft landing on Titan happened. Next year, in 2006, NASA's Stardust brings the first samples from a comet. In 2009, in the Kepler mission, again made by NASA, the first space telescope to examine Earth-like exoplanets was sent to space. In 2011, NASA's Messenger mission, the first orbit of Mercury happened, and of course, next year, in 2012, Voyager 1 became the first man-made probe to exit the solar system and the entire interstellar space. Not only man-made probe, man-made structure, literally. Yay! In 2014, European Space Agency's Rosetta became the first soft lander on a comet. In 2015, USA and Japan made lettuce growing in space. And lettuce was the first thing eaten that grew in space. So also in 2019, the first images of a black hole was captured, but that is not really like a space exploration. Like nothing was really sent to space and stuff, you know, like probes and humans and stuff. So that's why I skipped that one. But of course, that's still a big mark. Anyways, so in 2021, Ingenuity, as you know, the helicopter thingy of Perseverance. Remember the Perseverance rover that landed on Mars? Yeah. So Ingenuity became the first aerodynamically powered engine to fly on another planet, which is Mars. And finally, the James Webb Space Telescope. I mean, I don't think that I need to explain this because I made a literal video about this. You can click on the top right if you haven't watched it. It's very interesting. And here we are today. So, in conclusion, as you can see, for 75 years, dramatic changes have been happening in space exploration and spaceflight. This video showed how humanity has achieved so many things about space. I wish they also discovered the oceans. I can't believe they just sent rockets and stuff to the skies without even looking down on our planet's beautiful place. I literally made a video about this. It was literally my previous video. Top right, you can watch, and it will appear in the end screen. And who knows what will happen in the next 75 years? But to be honest, these are not a country's achievements. These are not USA's, Europe's, or the Soviet Union's or Russia's achievements, in my opinion. These are the world's achievements, mankind's achievements. Alright, so I hope you liked that video and that crappy timeline from Google Drawings I made. And stay astronomical.